Tonight, our special transmission as U.S. President Biden warns the Israeli PM of dwindling global support for its war on Palestine. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Zahra Sayed. Today is the 144th day since Israel started its indiscriminate war on Palestine. Israeli forces have intensified bombing across Gaza, causing casualties near Gaza City and Deir al-Balah. In the past 24 hours, Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have killed at least 76 Palestinians. Another 5 Palestinian civilians have lost their lives in Abu Huli. The Qasem Brigade's Hamas's military wing has launched missiles at northern Israel from southern Lebanon. The missiles have targeted various locations, including the headquarters of Israeli Eastern Command 769 and Beit Hillel Airport Barracks. United Nations agencies are being denied access to provide aid to Palestinians trapped in the besieged enclave. Multiple reports show Palestinian children starving of hunger. Gaza's health ministry warns of escalating famine, which can potentially claim thousands of lives. A report by Palestinian news agency says 3 people waiting for aid were killed by Israeli artillery fire on the coastal Al Rashid Street. Israeli forces have conducted multiple overnight raids across the occupied West Bank. During the raids, they have arrested 35 Palestinians. Since Hamas's attack, more than 7,305 Palestinians have been detained. The death toll from Israel's war continues to rise. At the time of writing, at least 29,954 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks. Another 8,000 are presumed dead under the rubble. 70,325 have been injured. Israel's revised death toll from Hamas's attacks stands at 1,139. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told the U.S. President Joe Biden that robust backing from the Americans is helping Israel to pursue complete victory against Hamas. Netanyahu says his steadfast leadership has helped in rallying international support for Israel and resisting pressure to end the conflict prematurely. His remarks follow a warning from Biden about dwindling global support for Israel in the ongoing conflict. There are increasing calls for de-escalation from the public. As Israel's war rages on, U.S. officials are actively engaged in negotiations for a ceasefire agreement. Biden says he is hopeful for a ceasefire in the upcoming week. White House and State Department officials have confirmed ongoing discussions regarding humanitarian aid and the release of hostages held by Hamas. Concrete details and timelines remain undisclosed. Officials anticipate a potential 6-week ceasefire. Diplomatic efforts involving the U.S. along with Qatar, Egypt, and Israel are underway to finalize the agreement. A coalition of Palestinian organizations is urging trade unions, environmental groups, and human rights organizations to halt all energy exports to Israel until it ceases its attacks on Gaza. The coalition has launched a campaign yesterday to address Israel's actions, including genocide and apartheid against Palestinians. The campaign is named Global Energy Embargo. It involves analyzing energy flows and identifying choke points in Israel's supply chain. The campaign faces challenges due to the U.S.'s support for Israel. However, the campaign collaborates globally and is targeting fuel exports to Israel. The coalition is engaging with groups in Colombia and the U.S. to raise awareness about fuel trade and violence against trade unionists. The coalition also demands an end to Israeli gas exports to Europe. Israel has barely any domestic crude oil production. Last year, the country imported around 300,000 barrels per day of crude oil. Israel's biggest source of oil is from Azerbaijan, which is shipped from Turkiye's Mediterranean port of Sahat. Lawmakers are criticizing the Biden administration for conducting military strikes against Yemen Houthis and defending foreign ships in the Red Sea without congressional approval. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy says there has been no legal authorization for such actions. Since January 11th, the U.S. and the U.K. have targeted over 230 Houthi sites. President Biden pledges to continue the strikes. He justifies his government's decision by citing Article 2 from the U.S. Bill of Rights. The article allows certain alienable rights, including protecting property. Senators Tim Kaine and Murphy are questioning the legality of defending foreign vessels. They label it beyond the scope of self-defense. The Biden administration faces challenges from the War Powers Resolution, which limits military action without congressional approval. The hearing highlights growing congressional scrutiny over the administration's military actions. President Biden admits the strikes have failed to deter the Houthis from targeting vessels in the Red Sea. A campaign by the Sahat Institute in Istanbul, Turkey, is shedding light on the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. The organization functions as both a humanitarian institution and news agency and amplifies Palestinian voices. The campaign shows how, after 5 months of relentless attacks, Israel is using hunger as a warfare tool. Reports by international agencies, including the United Nations and Human Rights Watch, show at least 8 children, including a 6-month-old baby, have died of starvation. Testimonies reveal heartbreaking stories of hunger and deprivation. Families are resorting to eating grass to stay alive. Sahat says by blocking aid delivery, Israel is going against the rulings of the International Court of Justice. In a video, the Institute denounces hunger as a means of collective punishment. It condemns the dehumanizing conditions imposed on Gaza's population by Israel. Israel aims to challenge Eurovision norms by submitting a politically themed song titled October Rain for the upcoming contest in Sweden. The contest is an international song competition organized annually by the European Broadcasting Union. The event is set to start on May 7th. The song commemorates soldiers killed during the Hamas's attack. Eurovision policy prohibits political messaging. Israel says it plans to stand firm and will withdraw from the contest if the song is rejected. Different countries, including Ireland, France, and Sweden, are advocating for Israel's exclusion due to its actions in Gaza and the West Bank. In Sweden, 1,000 people, including artists and music industry officials, have launched an online petition. The petition demands that Israel be banned from the Eurovision Song Contest. 2 prominent Australian Muslim organizations have declined invitations to attend premiers' iftar dinners in New South Wales and Victoria. The decision of the Australian National Imams Council and the Islamic Council of Victoria reflects growing discontent within Muslim communities over the official responses to the conflict in Gaza. The groups say continued human rights violations in Gaza and support for Israeli actions by Australian MPs is very concerning for the Muslim community. Despite the boycott, the premiers intend to proceed with the iftar dinners. They promise a more respectful tone, acknowledging the solemnity of the occasion amidst the ongoing conflict. The Sundance Institute and Disney have revealed the first cohort for their Muslim Artist Fellowship program. Each of the selected 4 filmmakers will receive a grant of $15,000. The program will run for 1 year. The fellowship aims to provide personalized support and networking opportunities to the filmmakers. The nominees will be provided community-building platforms to advance their projects. The partnership between Sundance and Disney seeks to uplift Muslim artists and their narratives. It also aims to provide visibility to Muslim creatives. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad. Assalamu alaikum.